Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Archetype Learning Solutions channel, where we talk about all things employee engagement. And our strategy is simple, and that is to have quality daily interactions with your team members so that you can engage everyone every day. And of course, your team members don't extend to just those direct reports, because we believe that engagement is an all hands on deck activity. And I can talk a little bit more about that in another video. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about an experience that an employee just recently had. She actually was a client of mine. This individual contracted with me because she was experiencing really, really bad low engagement in her position. And so she engaged with me because she wanted to kind of validate her own experiences that she was having in the workplace in a very toxic, unprofessional, frustrating situation. And she also wanted to kind of work through some mindset to see if there was something that she might be able to do to make the situation a little bit more palatable for her as she showed up to work each day. But what she shared with me, and I think this is why employee engagement is the single most important topic that we can be having right now within our organizations, is that it is really truly impacting everybody. So this particular individual engaged with me a few months ago. She was very seasoned, very veteran in her role. So she had a ton of experience, progressive experience. And in this particular case, was brought into the organization to use that expertise and all of her years of experience. She was having a great time, really enjoyed the work. The first few months that she was there, she was getting very well integrated in with the team, having really rich conversations about the work at hand. A few months into her tenure there, they brought in a new manager, and this individual was not a seasoned manager. And of course, that doesn't make a difference, right? We have unseasoned managers who come in at any given point in time into our organizations. Oftentimes what happens, and I believe this was the case with this individual as well, is that the managers new managers sometimes get into situations and there's so much uncertainty, they don't know what really is expected of them in the role of a manager. And so they begin to have or experience what I call role compression. I've written about this. If you're curious, you can go to my website and find other blogs on this. In a nutshell, it means that we have managers who are not experienced, who are not ready, who are not prepared to do the work of managing. And so out of the stress that they experience of learning this work or not being open to it or not understanding their role, they experience role compression. And that means that instead of opening up and trying to have a better understanding, they can't, because they're in a state of stress themselves. And so what they do is they become better individual contributors, meaning that all of the work gets now compressed down into the other individuals on the team. And so they become very task-oriented individuals that are just doing simple tasks and taking orders. So the new manager, is not only experiencing stress from the new role, but they're actually kind of shooting themselves in the foot because they're not leaning on the team or allowing the team to kind of be present with them and help lift up that new manager through their own expertise and experience. Okay, that aside, I believe that is what this particular individual was experiencing, was this new manager. And she wasn't just new to the organization, she was new to the management role, was experiencing this particular level of stress. And it showed up, I think oftentimes we label it as ego, but sometimes I believe it's also stress that induces people to work from their shadow side. So that means we become somebody very different than who we actually are when we're functioning and working at our best. So that to set some context up for what my client was experiencing about 6 months after this new manager joined the team. And my client started to really experience the first symptoms, if you will, of feeling very disengaged. And so this went on for about a year and a half, finally to the point where my client said, I have nothing. I have nothing to give. It's a labor to get there. It's frustrating to get there. I don't want to be there. I'm angry at everybody. And my anger carries out into the community. And it shows up in the way I drive into work. It shows up in terms of who I am when I walk into the grocery store. When I come home at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I don't want to interact with my family members. I just want to lay in bed and curl up in a shell and hope it kind of all goes away. So that's how I think we are experiencing collectively the very fact that only 1 in 3, so 30% of our workforce is feeling engaged. So 1/3 of our workforce is engaged, 2/3 disengaged or actively disengaged. And it's showing up. It's showing up all around us. And so ironically, out of the blue, this gal gets a call from a recruiter and interviews for a position. And she didn't really think she was going to get the job, but she said even interviewing for another position kind of renewed her spirit and feeling that she still had value. She could still contribute something. She might still be wanted within an organization. And ironically, a week later, they called her back and said, "We'd like to offer you the job." So long story short is this gal, now my client, takes this new position, and we kind of sunsetted our work to kind of let her ease into the new role that she was entering into. And she called back a couple of days ago. It actually was Thursday, so I'm a little late in getting to this particular recording. But she called me on Thursday afternoon, and she said, "I am in this situation and it is so much better. I feel like I'm part of the team. I'm heard, I'm listened to. I have voice, I can bring value." She said, "My whole attitude towards life, towards people has changed. I no longer have this sense of road rage on my way to or way home or from work, into or from work. I walk into a grocery store, I have a completely different attitude towards people overall. And I come home and I have energy to do things around the house that I should be doing." This is why this is such an important issue. We spend a huge amount of our time in our workplace. And if we are spending all of those hours feeling frustrated, angry, anxious, depressed, of course, it's going to take a toll on us. And as I mentioned at the start of or earlier in this video, I think that's what we're seeing collectively. We're all kind of experiencing everybody else's frustration, anger, depression, frustration. I already said that. But we're all experiencing that. And the more we experience that in the workplace and it carries out into the community overall, it's got to have an impact on us. And so it's not only are we not leaving it behind when we leave the workplace, we're bringing it out into the community. And, there's an old adage in organizations, hopefully this has been eradicated a bit, but it was always leave your emotions at the door. So whatever happened to you the night before or the morning of, when you show up to the workplace, you should put on a big happy smile and just leave all of those things behind. Of course, we know that that's not possible. So the inverse of that has to be true as well. If we had a really shitty day at work, of course, we're going to carry that into our relationships and into the community at large. So globally, very important issue that we get these engagement issues resolved, that we can have happy, well-adjusted employees, team members, folks that are coming into our workplace, so that we can really shift happiness all around us. So at work or outside in the community, engagement really does matter. And I think this is why this is such an important topic. So if this content resonates with you, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, share with others, and please leave a comment below, ask a question, engage in the discussion. I'd love to hear your insights on this. Until next time, I'm Danielle Lord, founder of Archetype and principal, I guess, of Archetype Learning Solutions, where we talk about employee engagement all day, every day. Thanks so much.